And we're live.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It is now 4 o'clock, and we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And I would ask for roll call. Councillor Webster.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Present.
Councillor Humphreys.
Present.
And I'm present, and we understand that Councillor Cleroux will be along shortly, so I'll just ask him for his presence at the time. As we gather here today, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also would like to thank all generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Pecuniary interest? Anybody? None being expressed. Confirmation of council agenda. Moved by Deputy Mayor Campbell, second by Councillor Webster. Any comments? All in favor? Councillor Webster,
In favor.
Councillor Humphreys,
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell,
In favor?
and I'm in favor. Delegations or public meetings, we don't have any. Minutes from previous meetings of January 25th, 2022, regular council. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Humphreys. Councillor Webster, are you in there? There we go. Any business arising out of the minutes? None? All in favor? Deputy Mayor Campbell,
In favor?
Councillor Humphreys,
In favor.
Councillor Webster,
In favor.
and I'm in favor. Now, we are waiting to hear from Councillor Cleroux. So I'm wondering if Deputy Mayor Campbell is general government, can you start at the bottom and leave the budget till the end then, please?
Absolutely, sir. So if we leave the bottom, so Mayor Bennett, where would you like me to start at 8? Do 8 point?
Oh, sorry, I said it wrong. I thought the budget was on top, so I instructed you wrong.
We'll omit at this time 8.1.3, the budget report. Fair enough?
Yeah, we'll bring it back up when we have full council.
Thank you, sir. And welcome, Susan. Welcome, Spencer.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
Happy to see you here and hear you here.
Good afternoon.
Okay, on 8.1 general government, 8.1.1, you'll see the 2021 OPP fourth quarter calls for service billing report. I'm sure everybody's had a chance to scan through it, at least for our area and calls. I was speaking earlier with the treasurer about, I guess you can kind of understand some of the highlights on there for the year we're going through. So there seems to be a lot of small minor thefts and stuff. I guess too much time on people's hands.
Mhm.
Is there any questions or concerns on the report? I know it does show the property violations, the month to month, year to date, and then a comparison of 2020 versus 2021. So it gives you a good picture of, again, what's going on in our own backyards. So again, Mayor Bennett, as being part of the CPAC committee a few years back, again, I'm sure brought this back to council. It's a great tool to, again, see what's going on in our backyard and know what you should be doing as far as locking things up and not. So, okay, any question, Mayor Bennett?
That's very good information. I totally agree with you, Deputy Mayor. The one question I have, and it doesn't really have to do with this report, but it does have to do with the OPP. The extra policing that needed to be brought in over the weekend for the convoy going through and the cars bouncing around all the township roads. Do we get billed as they leave the highway and going for a tour around the back roads?
I believe so. I believe as soon as they leave 17, and as it was always explained to me through CPAC, once they come into your township, they're on the clock. So I can certainly look into it and see what that weekend number comes up separately.
If you could, please, if you and Hope could work together and do that. It's very important because of the delay. There was several cruisers trying to get themselves occupied by driving the township roads as they're waiting for the highway convoy coming down. And I would like to make sure that we are not paying for that.
And that's a good thing to look into to bring back, and certainly bring back through the committee. Any other questions? Councillor Webster.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, it was just interesting on that report how things were high last year and then low this year and up and down. It's very surprising. I thought there'd be a gentler wave, but overall it's slightly higher, but it's just like in a specific category within the report. I was really surprised that some things are a lot higher and lower this year than that year, whereas I thought it'd be a lot calmer wave back and forth, but it is great information.
And as the next report's coming forth, and you'll see 119 more hours calls to service. And again, one of the major things we used to have is because there are seasonal cottages, and with the river freezing up, and it was so easy for someone to come by on a snowmobile and come up the river, cross the river, whichever way, not pointing directions, but from all four compass headings in and out of a cottage. And that used to be the norm, but now those seasonal cottages are becoming full-time homes. And certainly Neighborhood Watch is surpassing any of the break-ins. So along the river, very fortunate that you see that, Neighborhood Watch working. So that's a plus. Okay, so on page 13 is the 2021 building fee report. And will I pass it over to Natalie? Tally, do you have anything to add to that?
Sure. Just to point out that on page 14 on the appendix, they had a really good year. I guess we got a lot in permits and septic this year compared to other years. So this year we are putting a transfer into reserves for $37,564. And the last time we saw a contribution into reserves was 2015, and it was only in the amount of $9,875. So it's been a while that we see going into the reserves rather than coming out to balance the department. So that's good news.
So between renovations and growth, is Horton certainly seeing a change in that. And Councillor Webster, you may have more to add to that.
Yes, thank you. Tally, will that be a dedicated reserve for the building department?
Yeah.
That to ride the waves in the future that won't cost taxpayers next year pulling out. So this will be the building reserve. Is this just being started or is it ongoing? And if so, what would the balance be?
It is ongoing. Like if you look up at in the top one, say 2020, we had to take out of reserves the 59. So it is a back and forth, and it has been going for a while. I'd have to get back to you on the balance of that, but
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, so for now, certainly a positive report and statement. And again, I like the comparison that we can do, and then as Tally's saying, the in and out, and maybe, I mean, it's listed there, but yeah, it's, if you have any further questions on that. But again, it's from, so 2015, 7 years ago, we're certainly moving in a forward direction. So we'll skip page 15.
Deputy Mayor, sorry, Councillor Humphreys has his hand up.
Sorry, Councillor Humphreys.
No, and Councillor Webster mentioned transfer in and out. It's sort of interesting. We've now got back, like I'm just looking back, it's 25, 29, 39, or $40,000 out in the last 5 years. So it's really nice to get something back in for sure. Just a quick what went out from 2016 through to 2020, and then this year is sure nice to see that positive money going back in again. So maybe that'll carry us for another 5 years.
nice.
Good point. And again, always like to see the paperwork backing what's going on in our township. So that's all I have for unless there's any further questions, Mayor Bennett, sorry.
It's not a question, it's just a comment. We can, the Canadian market is what caused the increase here to begin with, because all the product for building was up at least 20% this construction season that we have never seen before. So we hope if it stays up there, we should, the cost of doing the construction and the buildings should show as a positive effect for a few years yet.
And you're certainly correct on that. And I know I've spoken to some of the realtors in town, and they don't foresee this changing within the next fiscal year either. They believe everything's going to stay at the height that it is. And, you know, it's there's been a lot of renovations to upgrade houses for turnover. And then again, you can see a lot of new permits coming out, and I'll have to wait and put my money where my mouth is, where I figure the new permits will come out for this year. So, but I think at this year I'm sitting pretty. So, so if that's all there is, and I'll do one more scan, Susan.
I have to find my unmute button. Yeah, it's certainly good news. I was also interested in doing some comparisons with some of the other municipalities around, and I'm sure most of you saw that information in the Business Week magazine. But I thought it was interesting that we're quite a bit higher actually than Edmundston Bromley, which is quite a bit larger municipality, and yet for some reason we've been able to draw people to beautiful municipality of Horton. So. Hopefully we can keep up that good work and keep promoting. It's a great place to live and work and play.
And again, with the expansion of 417 heading this way, it can only get better. And again, it'll be an exciting next term to see what comes this close. And correct me if I'm wrong, the 10-year project, how many years are we into the expansion now? Are we into the second year now from the announcement? Somewhere in that, so to expand up as far as Bruce Street. So hello, Councillor Kaliru, how are you tonight?
Yeah, I apologize for being late.
Not at all, sir. You have a busy plate and more mouths to feed now, so congratulations. So I am not sure if we've gone through the page 7, the calls to service. And we're just finishing up with the building fee report, and that we see some money going back into reserves of, just shy of $40,000 this year. So So if there are no further comments, we can go back to budget on item 8.1.3 now that we have a full complement. So if you turn to page 15. This is our budget report. I'm sure everyone's had a chance to digest what our last meeting was. And I'll certainly turn this over to Tally and she can walk us through.
Thank you. Okay, so the hopes is that this evening when we leave, that we can decide as a council, committee members, that a percentage for us to move forward with. So we can prepare the budget and hopefully present at a public meeting on February 22nd. And then we can proceed with our 2022 budget. So as you all know, back in November, we met and it was presented with a 0.24% increase, but we didn't have some figures there. And some of the stuff we didn't have and we now have. I know it's gonna kind of sound repetitive, but some weren't at the last meeting. So our insurance premiums, they're up 10,000 over last year. Waste contract is up 111,000 over 2021. Our OSIF allocation, we're getting an increase of 106,183 over last year. So that'll help with some of our capital works. Stewardship funding, it's an increase of 52,000 over last year as well. And the pay equity review, if it's approved by council, will be a 2% levy impact. And with all these figures taken into consideration and plugged into the budget, right now we're sitting at a 3.55% increase. Now based on, just to kind of give an idea for people to relate to their assessment. So based on 100,000 assessment, a 3.55% increase would look like $19.65 per 100,000. I did put some other percentages there just for your own sake, just to kind of have a look at what different percentages look like. So that's where we're at for that. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or direction, discussion on where they want to see this go.
Mayor Bennett.
Thank you. So in order to be fair to everybody, and we do have everybody with us tonight that has input into finance, I wonder if you would entertain Deputy Mayor to actually have Councillor Webster put his proposal back to, so everybody's clear on what came to the table in the last meeting, and then the internet kind of fell apart. So.
Okay.
Throw me on stage here. Just trying to remember. So my proposal was we went to a 1.5% levy. So, and take 2.05 out of working fund reserve, which is a very, very healthy reserve at the moment. That being said, the reasoning for that is because our recycling contract for 2023, we will be saving 4.5% levy, today's levy, next year. So we're going to have a surplus of 4.5% comparing to this year's budget. And so I'm trying to smooth the wave out of hitting everybody with 3.55. Next year, we're going down. We're going to have a surplus of 4.5 at least. That's not counting growth or anything else. So what I was trying to do is take some money out of the reserves because it's very healthy and kind of ride that wave. So it's a softer blow this year to the 1.5. And then next year, that reserve, we can replenish it back to the working fund reserve of this amount. And I think, Tally, I think that amount would actually be around just over the $50,000 mark to achieve this. 1.5 levy, around that, I think. So that was my thinking and rationalization around it. We have the county coming in at 1.7. So 1.7 plus 1.5, is still over 3%. So I just want to ride this wave because next year we're getting a surplus. And then the year after, we're getting another 4.5% for the other half, or for the full year of the recycling being taken away to the province. So that was my rationalization around the this year doing the 1.5. I think I got everything. Somebody chime in if I forgot something.
Comments? None. Susan, sorry.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thanks for that, Councillor Webster, because I hadn't heard that piece. I'd heard a little bit of it, but that clarified for me kind of where you were thinking about the 1.5%. It sounds like a logical approach in my mind. I didn't check on the reserves, but you're saying they're really healthy, and if we can replace them next year, then I think that's a logical way to go. I'm always a little nervous about making the levy too low because we don't want to all of a sudden have to increase it by a lot the next year. But it sounds like this would kind of even it out a little bit and makes good sense to me. So that's my thought.
Thank you, Susan. Anybody else? Everyone's quiet. All right. And again, we were looking at, I know the assessment rates came into question as well, as they were being held at the 2019 tally. If I'm incorrect, just jump in at the 2019 rates 2021 rates.
2016.
Yeah, 2016 rates, sorry, for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And so we will see a significant increase once that is reassessed based on, as we know, the assessment rates on the increases of our property values and standards. So I can't see it again. I'm sure it's going to hold for the next fiscal year and see what goes on from there. I kind of have to echo Susan again. I know all the numbers come in, they're tallied, and it came down to 3.55%. So there's what it would take if we just, and I know it was a little higher than that, and some adjustments were made to get us to 3.55%. That's what it would take to move forward. We have strong reserves right now. I do agree with that. And again, I always look at, especially as chair of finance, I'm looking at, squirreling that little extra away for a rainy day. This year, we've seen, as Tally's mentioned, some pretty heavy increases, certainly out of our hands, with insurance premiums, waste contract. Now, we did have some positives with the OSIF funding. That means that we don't, with a significant increase on that, we don't have to pull from reserves to finish some of our projects. That is a plus. So where we would either have to look at debenturing or doing it in part and parcel. So there is good news there, but of course that's money in, money out because it has to be used. And then the funding, as Councillor Webster has brought forth. Again, I know looking forward, that's significant savings and year before, but I try and look at what we can do today, and knowing that we have that card up our sleeves when this year when that drops off and it isn't a burden to us. Anyone else? Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, I will.
Deputy Mayor, Councillor Cleroux put his hand up.
Sorry.
No problem. The only question I have is, part wrapped into this is, well, first of all, I want to thank, I think staff, this budget is there's a lot of hours going into it by all staff, and I think we started this, correct me if I'm wrong, Tally, I think we started this in August. I think you guys started this in August. So there's a pile of hours going into it. I'm just wondering, like, what's the pay equity and all that? Because it's kind of a, it is kind of a closed section, because it's about, it's about party, like about employees. Should that be taken out first? Like, have it at next meeting, kind of get that sorted out, and then that would go in the following meeting. Then, like, the budget would follow the following meeting.
That, if I can jump in, that's one of the, I was talking with Tally today about that. I know during that discussion, there was a few questions more than concerns. And I wasn't sure if what came out of that, if the questions were answered through phone call. And I wasn't sure if there were any more, if there's another need for further meeting on that. I know the review was done by a third party. We do know that we're kind of lapsed on that every 5 years we need to revisit that. So it was kind of a catch-up scenario. But I don't know if Hope, you can comment on any further on that.
Sure. So just to speak, it wasn't in closed session. So at the end of that, the final report was presented from the consulting company. I believe the last direction that we were given, or that was given, was that if anybody had any questions, that they could reach out to me. The only one I received question was from Councillor Webster, which we did clarify moving forward. So from that final report, what I did was I took the lump sum of what the recommendations for the consultant made and put that in the budget itself, so that we knew what that levy increase would impact from the pay equity report. And then when we're discussing budget, if it was approved within the budget, then at that same meeting, we would approve the employment bylaw, which would include the new updated grid. So if I have other direction from council, I'm not sure what else I could bring back for the pay equity review, unless you want to review the final report again. But any specific information of salary and pay equity results are confidential.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, double click. So Councillor Cleroux, does that answer your questions, or are you looking to have another talk on that?
No, I just wanted to look at that all the councillors are comfortable with the report, and based on table is like I thought it'd be to that discussion would prolong the budget, right? If there was some questions around it, or if would it prolong it? I don't know if it should be taken out, but if everyone's comfortable, then we can just proceed.
Okay. No, and that's fair enough. Same with me. I sat down with the treasurer today, and I went through the bulk of it. And of course, I was doing my comparisons to previous reserves, how we were sitting, where we're coming from, 3.55, and working scenarios back. And again, being cautious as I went through, because it's we had some pretty heavy items to digest this year, and I'm just looking forward again and being cautious for next year. Further questions? Okay, so I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor Bennett, because I'm not sure if we're looking to do this or at the tail end of the meeting, as we normally do. I'll leave that up to you.
Okay, the meeting, we'll just do it like we do a normal meeting, so everything will come up at the end. I need to go back to item 1, just to have Councillor Cleroux acknowledge that he's here.
Present.
Thank you. And then I'm going to try to go to 8.2, the Planning Committee, Chair Cleroux.
Pulling it up here, sorry. Yeah, so we kind of went through with the building report, but December's kind of the same thing that was. This shows the additions through in all year. It was a great year in Horton for development, and hopefully it continues in 2022 and beyond. Almost doubled our 2020 permit values, and the people still building in, one of the, actually in November, I'm not sure if that's for the next year's, like for 2022 builds, but in November we've seen the biggest month, and then and even in December we've seen 1 permit, so it's good news all around. Any questions? If not, I'll turn it back to you, Mayor Bennett.
Thank you, Chair. We're on to community committees and county council. Renfrew and Area Senior Home Support, Councillor Humphreys.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Bennett. Yeah, I was actually called today just to check up and see how things are going. I guess the Golden Age Activity Centers go open next week, and they've, let's say, last the info package, we got that really nice letter from Dennis Harrington, and all the things have been done, the fundraising, everything's tickety-boo, money in the bank, and I think everything at the Senior Home Support is coming on board. And as I talked to Nikki, she said everybody's looking forward to getting the Golden Age Activity Center open next week. So they've done so much, still driving people to appointments and keeping busy with the food orders and stuff. So I think it's a well-oiled machine. They got a good bunch of directors around the table, and of course it's Mayor Bennett's little baby, so he has to look after it too. So anyway, that's all I have. It was good write-up from Dennis in last week's info package and all the things that the Senior Home Support does. So always positive. So that's all I have, Mayor Bennett.
Thank you. And I'll just bring forward that we did receive some extra allocation of funds that is not on the info package. And I'm wondering if you could make sure that for the next council package for information, that information that we received actually gets here, so all of council can see what's going on in there. Okay, thank you. Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, Deputy Mayor Campbell.
I have nothing to report at this time, Mayor Bennett.
Okay, thank you. Are we close to getting to the point of actually having something presented to us?
Unless, Hope, you've heard something different, I think we're still in a holding pattern at this time.
Yeah, unfortunately, the gentleman that was contracted to devise the safety plan for us, like the Renfrew OPP branch as well as Upper Ottawa Valley, he is dealing with some health issues. So I think that's part of what's been waylaying the process.
Okay, so maybe we could get the OPP Commission and Premier Ford to actually go back to CPAC committees, and then we could handle it internally.
We can make a recommendation for sure.
Yeah. Health Service Village. I don't have anything to report. We haven't had a meeting now since June or July of last year. So I hope to have something coming forward at some point in the next 3 months now that COVID is starting to actually reduce everybody's workload a little bit, that we can think about what we should be thinking about. Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Bennett. The big shout out is for businesses to get our new directors online for AGMs in March 8th, actually. And we're doing some budgeting, and I guess the biggest thing that dropped in our lap, if COVID conditions, it's going to be having another home and garden show. And that's going to be a plus. We haven't had one it was canceled right in 2020 when the pandemic started. So it'd be nice to get on board. It was brought forth at the last meeting. And again, the call out for new directors as people are going on and off the business after with the AGM. So any business you think want to be representative, it's a pretty good crew in there now. And I'd say Tom Sidney he's past president as of March, or the March meeting. So they'll be looking for a new board of directors all around. I've notified them that I would stay on for another year, and I figured I will be here for a while anyhow. So, and I really enjoy the organization. So they've done a lot with COVID and did a lot with the kits and the handouts and working with Empire and Pembroke through Shop the Valley, and it's been a good shot working from behind closed doors or Zoom meetings all the time. So that's all I have to report, Mayor Bennett. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Doug? Councillor Humphries, I should say, sorry.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Just want to say, what a good job you've been doing through COVID. You're one of the only ones I can say that have been able to, I shouldn't say it, for an outside committee to attend and certainly keep us well informed. I'm very, very pleased with that. Thank you.
Yep, it's enjoyable.
It shows.
Yep.
Thank you, County Council. You all received that through email, I believe, for County Council. There's a couple of things I need to bring forward. First of all, we put a proposal in for the Winter Games for February of next year to see whether, and the reason for that was for that all the budget money can't be held over by the provincial government. So that kept it very tight in timeline there, that we still have the money that's allocated to the Winter Games, but if that plan doesn't go ahead, then the money has to be put back in the province treasury, and we'll have to go through all the process of getting the funds from the province again as we move forward. So that's where we are there. Everything is working quite well up at the county right now, but we do have on the next month, we do have the actual looking at each municipality and where we stand as far as doing development plans with the county, so that they have control of what's happening with some funds to rebuild the roads as new construction starts along the county roads. We don't know what support level there is there yet, but there is a lot of discussion needs to happen as we move forward with that. And other than that, I don't have a whole pile to offer you, but definitely read the package, because there's things in there that are interesting to actually stay up to date on what's going on at county. And that's all I have. Questions? None? Okay, thank you. Information correspondence. Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Okay, I'm going to change screens here, but the Rogers Tower, I found, again, we were speaking about that earlier, to be quite interesting for the people in that circle. Again, I can only read into it so much, and then maybe Councillor Cleroux would have more to add to it. But again, anything that brings better reception to our area, and that might be our roll the dice and say that might be a instant growth in building permits in that area if it can fall within that circle that they're showing. And I hope that that's just the first of a few towers in that area going up, because the along the river road, there's so many new houses going up, and they certainly deserve, with the taxes they're paying, all they can get, and extra resource like that would go a long way. And then I'll just comment on I see the fees for our contract for vet services are in there. Donna Campbell's brought up, so I don't remember seeing that. I don't know, Tally, is that an annual or is that, how does that work for the contracts for the veterinary service?
Yes, it is annual.
It is, okay. Okay, I'll leave it at that, Mayor Ben, unless somebody, I guess they can comment anywhere.
Councillor Humphreys?
Yeah, thank you for being. Yes, the Rogers Tower was quite interesting. And of course, I was going to bring up the veterinary committee because I figured I'm sort of an agricultural guy here, but it's interesting to see how many cattle are around, like just under 2,000 head of cattle and livestock in Horton. And that's like 20% of what Adamson Brumley has, and like 10% of what Whitewater has. And, you know, we still got a lot of good farmers, but they're all spread out, and you can pick them up in your size of your hand, just where everybody is with the cattle and the sheep and the horses. But it's interesting. It's a good $280 spent for the township, puts us in on the connection with the vets and all the services they do. And it also would keep track of it. Let's say there's a rabies outbreak, gives us a better handle on where the numbers are and where the problems might be too. So it was nice to see Warden Robertson put back on the East Ontario caucus, and she's a great woman, and she's got a good reputation behind her now. So I think it's all falling into place. And again, the Rogers Tower is a great thing. I hope the area would be expanded with that 300-foot tower, that it would spread out bigger than the circle shows, and I think it will. I know it's a direct line. It's 300 feet tall on Jim Bear and Mullins Road area, but it's quite a circle up to like Bob Orr's. It's pretty well in line with his development at the steam whistle up there, steamboat RV park right across. Hopefully that'll maybe attract a nice subdivision into Horton too. So it's sort of a plus, I think, to have that Rogers Tower coming in. So again, only one question: do they have to get a building permit for that? Like when we talked to the other guys, they were supposed to get this is a cabled. It's a little different than the one than the other one's freestanding. I don't know how that works out. So maybe Councillor Webster could tell me the honest truth about that. Thank you.
Councillor Webster.
Thank you. So it falls under the federal, and as long as they do their licensing and all that, it's out of the hands of the building permit, unless there's a bylaw within the township.
Deputy Mayor.
And maybe Hope could answer that better than me, but I do believe we have there is a fee for putting up a tower in the township of Horton, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we do have a fee for the transmitter towers, depending on the size. So whatever they propose, we'll have to take a look at our bylaw to see what fee structure they fall under.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Webster, do you want to go ahead with the correspondence?
Sure. So you've touched on a couple things, everybody. And the other thing is the virtual conference, the Roma conference last week. A little informative. I guess I would like to mingle with people, other constituents, colleagues within the group, because I've attended a few of these in the past, and that you gain a lot of information. But it was informative, what I was in online for, and hopefully next year I see Ogra still a go for in-person meeting. That's coming April, and I've been to that one. So if anybody's interested, that's a great one to see. But yeah, the conference was good, but I'd rather see it be in person, visiting these things. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Carew.
Thank you, Mayor Bennett. I think a lot was covered. I was just gonna, this is Rogers Tower. It's always nice to see communications in our township. I'm curious, I was kind of surprised on the actual like the radius size. And I guess that states where it's good, I guess. But I'm not sure if you can reach out. Hope be curious if they have mapping, like proposed mapping, where like how far do they go out? Because especially 5, where I know 5G, it's smaller radius, but faster speed. So I'm curious, like, will it reach out farther? May not be the fastest, but at least you got something.
Yeah, I can certainly reach out and see if I can get some more information on how far it reaches out.
Okay. Councillor Humphries.
And just a quick question. to
I know
Hope,
Rogers and Bell, I know they're
just a quick question about the heights of that tower. I think when we looked in before, I think it was anything over 200 feet had to have a special permit. If I remember Councilor Webster and I speaking about that before, in Horton was a bylaw, and this is going to be 300 feet tall, so it's 91 meters, and the other one was like 200, like 60 some meters. So I don't know whether in the bylaw it states the number of feet, and that's something we may have to put a adjustment on the bylaw clause for that to happen too. So when you're back digging through the bylaws, I think there's a height thing too. I know they've checked it out with the airport at Cobden, but it's something we have to check out too. It's not on top of a hill or anything. So anyway, that's all I have. Sorry to interrupt there, Mayor Bennett.
Thank you. So I don't have much more to offer other than what's already been spoken. So I don't think that there's anything of value that I can add to what has been well spoken about at this council. Thank you. Action correspondence, we don't have any. Bylaws, we don't have any. Notice to file motion for next council meeting. Do we have any? Oh, we're almost there. Council and staff member concerns? None? Motion for reconsideration debate on the motion to reconsider only. Resolutions, Hope, please.
I'll hand that over to Nikki today, if you don't mind.
Oh.
The council received the 2021 OPP fourth quarter calls for service billing report as information.
Mover, Deputy Mayor Campbell, second by Councillor Webster. Any comments? Councillor Webster.
Favor?
Councillor Carew.
in favor.
Councillor Humphries.
Very nice to see you, and yes, and in favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor.
And I'm in favor.
Accepts the billing fee report for the year ending December 31st, 2021 as presented.
I need a mover. Moved by Councillor Humphrey, second by Councillor Carew. Any discussion? No? What billing permit, billing permits like that? I thought there would have been lots. And what are we going to do for next year? Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor.
Councillor Humphries.
In favor.
Councillor Carew.
In favor.
Councillor Webster.
In favor?
And I'm in favor.
That council accept this report as information and provide staff direction to prepare the final budget with a 1.5% increase to be presented at the public meeting on February 22nd, 2022.
Need a mover. Councillor Webster. Deputy Mayor Campbell. Any discussion? Okay, just before we call for the vote, I want to say a very big thank you to staff and for Councillor Webster for actually taking the time out of his busy schedule to try and come up with something that would be beneficial to both the ratepayers and the municipality. So thank you very much for that. Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Favor?
Council. Oh, did I miss something? No. Councillor Humphreys,
In favor.
Councillor Carew,
In favor.
Councillor Webster,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.
Council accept the December 2021 building report as information.
Moved by Councillor Carew. Second by Councillor Humphreys. Any discussion? Councillor Webster,
Favor?
Councillor Carew,
In favor.
Councillor Humphreys,
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.
Council received the reports for community committees and county council as information.
Moved by Councillor Humphreys, second by Councillor Webster. Councillor Carew,
In favor.
Councillor Humphreys,
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell,
In favor?
Councillor Webster,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.
Council accept the CAO clerk's information memo for February 1st, 2022.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Campbell, second by Councillor Carew. Any discussion? Councillor Humphreys,
In favor.
Councillor Carew,
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell,
In favor?
Councillor Webster,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.
The council went into closed session meeting at 5:54 PM to discuss the following items pursuant to section 239(2)B of the Municipal Act, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, procedural protocol.
Moved by Councillor Webster, seconded by Deputy Mayor Campbell. Deputy Mayor Campbell,
In favor?
Councillor Humphreys,
In favor.
Councillor Carew. I think
In
Leighton
favor.
might, oh, thank you. Councillor Webster,
Favor?
In favor.
and I'm in favor.